Welcome to Johnny on Energy. I'm here in this relatively hot attic to kind of point out some things to you that could make a dramatic difference in the cost of your home cooling, as it is in the summer right now. Also in your home heating when we get into the winter months. We're going to be doing a lot of things with attics and attics insulation, because kind of like wearing a hat to keep your head warm, what is happening in your attic on the top of your house has a dramatic effect on how much heat loss you have or how much heat gain you have. What we're going to talk about today is, and this is for those of you that have a heat pump located in your attic. You may be in more of a southern state if that's the case. But in this case, we're in an attic that has a heat pump in the attic. And probably behind me you can see a lot of piping, duct work. The heat pump itself is sitting right here behind me with all the ducts coming out. Now, if you look at this setup, it's actually pretty good. These are insulated ducts. They have a central main going down the middle, and then the ducts going out to the individual rooms. And the reason for the insulation is, you can imagine, if these pipes weren't insulated in this warm attic, we might be trying to run 60-some, 70-degree air-conditioned air through that pipe while it's being warmed from the outside. And I want to point out a few things to you and some stuff we're actually going to have to fix in this situation that could cost this home a lot of money over the summer in terms of its heating bills, by allowing, cooling bills I should say, by allowing that hot air to actually get in and infiltrate into some of these pipes in this run. As we look at this one here, the tape is actually released, the metallic tape, and the strip down the center, and I can actually touch this cold duct. This duct feels very cold, but in the room I'm in, it's a bit of a sauna up here right now. It's very warm, so that heat is actually getting to that pipe. And we'll point out a few other things up close. All right, let's take a closer look at what happened here. This is a nice sealed duct, at least not on the end we're looking at here. This whole side, either by how the HVAC people put it in, you can see where the tape actually lifted up and released, allowing all the insulation to be exposed. And here is a strip going down the center. I'm going to move up here a little bit more and point out to you where that duct is. And when we look right here, we're actually seeing the metal duct. Right there, that's the metal duct inside that has cold air flowing through it. When I touch it, it feels cool and actually cold to the touch because of that air-conditioned air that's running through it right now. It's probably about 90 plus degrees here in this attic, which is hitting that pipe, which is much cooler than that, warming it up. So there's a lot of heat loss going through there. And you can see it's split all the way down this side in this particular home. Now if we look down the other side, we look pretty good. We got a nice solid seal going down here, which is what this should look like. And you can see here, they put multiple layers of sealing tape down it and got it nice and tight, which is what we're looking for. But yet we come to this side, and apparently they missed the seam a little bit, and it just opened up and split open over, probably over the years. And this is something you may not normally catch in your attic easily, because who wants to come up in a 90-some degree attic and see what's going on? Now, I'll point out a few things for future videos. You can see this particular attic has a layer of attic insulation at the height of the rafters. A real opportunity in this home will be blown-in insulation to bring that up and put a significant higher R value into the roof. There's also an opportunity to add a radiant barrier along the rafters here, which is kind of a metallic material that reflects heat out of the roof. The cooler you can keep the attic itself, the easier it's going to be to not overheat those pipes. And at the same time, in the winter, you really want to insulate it so that you're not cooling the ductwork itself. All right, now before we go ahead and just start taping this back together, we got a couple things we want to do to kind of prepare it. And I've got a roll of metallic duct tape here that you can pick up at your home center in the area of the heating and cooling ducts, and ask somebody, they'll help you out with that. It has a peel off layer on the back. But if we just go ahead and put this on right now, it's dusty up here. We're in an attic, there's dust all over this thing. We're going to need to wipe that down. We've got this tape here that's useless, it's just kind of in our way and failed. So I'm going to go ahead and basically clean this up, remove some of that using a towel, and if I have to, some water. Looks like this is getting a lot of the dust. I'm basically dusting it off so we get a good bond on here. So what I want to go ahead and do is clean up this whole thing all down the stretch here, not put you through the torment of watching all that. Get that off of there, and then we'll tape the whole thing back together. All right, as hopefully you can see, I've got everything cleaned up here now and wiped down. That's our metal cold duct under there, our hot attic. And if you look at this material and the way it was designed for the duct, one side of it has a large piece of excess where it's uninsulated, the actual paper, to allow the two to butt up together, and then this one to actually go over top so we can get a solid seal on it. So what I've done is I've pre-cut some pieces of tape that are nice and long that are going to take me down the sides. I'm going to anchor that down first with a strip of these, a couple of these, and then we're going to run tape down the whole middle to get everything cleaned up. So I'm going to start with one of these, and I'm going to leave a little bit of this tape on the side so I can pull it out. So I'm going to get these guys overlapped and get myself started nice and low over here. The longer I can strap down both sides, the stronger of a bond I'm going to get in this whole piece as we bring it together. So I'm pulling that together, and I'm bringing this up and over, down, and down the other side. So that's going to give us a seal to start holding things together. I'm going to run a series of these, like I cut out about 9 or 10 of them. I'm going to run a series of these down my length to kind of bring things back together and get it sealed. And then when that's all done, we're going to take a long stretch of tape, probably a couple of them, and we're going to make sure we're solidly sealed, just like the other side you see further down, where we get a nice solid seal down this whole thing. So our duct has a nice jacket on it, is insulated from this warm temperature in the summer and the cool temperatures in the winter. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in, and then we'll come back to you. And what you see here is I've got my cross members taped across. We talked about taping it across in a bunch of different sections here. And I've run one long single strip down the center. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep adding to that, to the left and to the right of that piece, to make sure we're solidly sealed in there until we have a solid, nice seal on the duct. You no longer see that open duct work, and we're nice and getting airtight in here. Some of the other areas you can check is around these. While the air conditioning's on, you can feel if you've got any airflow actually escaping out of here. Any area that's not sealed, wrap those, seal those up. Basically make sure your ducts in the attic are well in. All right, so there we are. We went from this big wide open cold metal duct exposed to this hot attic to being sealed all the way down and solid. We've even gone through and wrapped some of these circular pipes where the other ducts come in. And one hint I will give you is a lot of times the contractors get the top done really nicely, but if you reach underneath here, you might feel some nice cool air, cool temperatures coming out of there. Make sure you wrap around the bottoms. Sometimes they might get a little lazy and miss that piece. I would highly recommend you do this stuff in the cooler weather. It's 80-some degrees out here in this home, and in the 90, probably 95 within the attic. So it's kind of like going to the sauna without having to pour that water on the hot rocks. But this was so wide open for this homeowner, we really hate to just leave that go, because it's going to be a dramatic impact on their cooling bill this summer over the next 3 or 4 months. So thank you for visiting Johnny on Energy. A lot more to come. We got some exciting stuff coming up on eco renovations. We're going to look at some older historical homes and how they balanced the making them energy efficient with keeping them historically accurate. Thanks for visiting us.